When you're looking for a mentor, you've got to be able to articulate what they want.
Exactly.
What you want, sorry.
Exactly.
Yes. So whenever I'm making a big decision to do with my career, he's the guy I call.
The conversations we're having, in a way, are kind of a form of mentoring. Hi, so here we are, we're three queens. I'm Musonda.
I'm Achieng.
I'm Micheline.
So today we're going to talk about a really exciting subject matter, mentoring. And a lot of you have kind of come back with comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram, even on Twitter actually, saying the conversations we're having, in a way, are kind of a form of mentoring. I know that both of you have had these experiences and been mentored by amazing people in your careers, in your spaces. Achieng, you've navigated an exciting career, met different people. How have you been mentored? And what does that even mean to you?
This is a subject I really love. And it's because I started being mentored when I was, well, let me say over 20 years ago.
Wow.
And the person who mentored me told me, I'll mentor you. And at that time, I was juggling two jobs. I didn't even know what it meant really. This guy, to this day, is my mentor. Whenever I'm making a big decision to do with my career, he's the guy I call.
Wow.
Whenever we meet, if we're in the same city, we will meet and have a meal and he's become a friend.
Wow.
For me, mentoring is really when you have somebody you can go to guide, advise, or counsel you. Usually it's matters career, but oftentimes you can actually get somebody who is more of a life skills mentor or a life mentor, so to speak. But you can also get somebody who brings some technical expertise in an area where you want to build the capability or the expertise.
Exactly.
Yeah? And the critical thing is whether it's a life mentor or whether it's a technical mentor, the chemistry has to be there. So for me, that's always been a very important part of the mentorship journeys or partnerships that I've had, either as a mentor or as a mentee.
20 years is amazing.
It's over 20 years.
Wow.
He's become a friend. He's wonderful.
So there's a level of trust.
Yes.
So you have trust, and there's also a mutual connection, as you're saying, the chemistry that works, and the importance of friendship. Because, sometimes it can be someone who can be condescending and really, but they're not mentoring you, they're just, voicing. What has been your experience?
Do you know what? It's interesting, as you ask this, I'm thinking quite honestly that it's time for me to get a really good mentor.
Good for you.
I don't have that experience of a mentor of 20 years ago. I have had some good ones, but really what's on my mind now is taken from what you just said, right? So I am on a few boards, and I really would love to be very effective as a board director. I also find that I'm trying to harness my globalness, if you will, right, more career-wise. And so those would be two things that I'm looking for in a mentor right now. But what that really brings me to is when you're looking for a mentor, you've got to be able to articulate what they want.
Exactly.
What you want, sorry.
Exactly. Yes.
So when younger professionals have come to me and have said, would you mentor me? I have actually said, what is it that you think I can help you with?
Right. Yeah.
And if you come back with the right answers, and they're right in the sense that, yes, I know I can do that.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, I used to work in public health. Yes, I know how to navigate different cultures. Right? Yes, I have led a big team. Then I can help you with that. But if you just have this notion that somehow, because I'm older, I've been professional, then that doesn't actually work. I really think I need a new mentor now. I know how to structure it well. And so that's been my experience. The other day, I heard this millionaire, Strive Masiwa, businessman, really notable for his work in the telecoms industry, and so on, philanthropist, Zimbabwean, yeah? So he says, you've got to think about it in terms of, do you need to be physically present?
Right.
Or can you mentor de distance, from a distance, like online mentoring, a quick Skype call, perhaps even back and forth. If you've got your structured questions that you need to ask someone, probably need to see them even once or twice a year. And the rest can be online.
Absolutely.
And that also opened my mind up, because now I can think about, for those who have asked, I can think about it not as a, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm not going to be able to give you the time.
That's it.
I can now
That's it.
rethink that, wait a minute, when I'm on the car going to the airport or whatever, if you've sent me your 3 questions, I'm just iPadding away.
For me, what's really been very interesting is, so I speak at conferences, I'm a public speaker, and I've had moments where young people come up to me, and I've deliberately factored in an hour post speaking that I'm going to not just walk away from the podium, dash out and say goodbye. I factor in an hour because I will meet 1 or 2 people who'd be interested to just talk to, and that happens a lot. And it's when it started happening that I factored in this hour to an hour and a half. And so what has happened is the issue of time is when I stop and listen and says, back to the issue that you've actually raised, Micheline, and say, what exactly do you need?
That's the issue.
The essential question. And also for me to be able to say, I'm sorry, but I will not be able to actually physically be present or physically respond to that. However, here's my card. Drop me an email. I can respond to 1 or 2 questions within a specific period of maybe 3 months. We need to be on, and I don't know how you've navigated this level of honesty.
That's been actually a struggle for me because a lot, other than the people I've mentored over the years who've actually also become friends, people I used to work with, and so we've stayed, and although we don't necessarily have formal mentorship sessions, we have sessions where we'll catch up over the phone, and then it's a 1 hour or 1.5 hour conversation. And it's reverse mentorship as well, because now they've kind of grown and flourished and so on. But one of the big challenges I'm facing now in relation to time is I want to be able to give career advice. And so through LinkedIn, you know, you've got the LinkedIn button where you can actually put it on to give career advice. And I'm getting so many inquiries or people sort of reaching out and saying, hey, I'm glad we can connect on career advice. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, how will I respond to these 5 people, 1 hour each? And this week is, hectic week. And so I love the idea from what you've said around with regards to Strive, adopting technology. And maybe it's a joint kind of session where you've got 5 people on the end of, on a Hangout call or whatever.
That's the thing, these days we have those tools. You know, the other thing he said that I was like, whoa, fascinating. He has more than 3 million viewers.
Oh, that's a lot.
And he gets the award from Facebook for being that influencer with the most amount of engagement time. So when we see his post, we're on it. We take it, we read it. It's not like a quick, 2-seconder. Now, what does that mean? He said the other day. He said when he writes it, he is using his own experience, but also all these questions he's received from many, many people. So there's something in it for most of those 3 million.
All these snippets and gems.
How much more effective is that than that one-on-one? So he talks about branding and entrepreneurship and positioning and all of that. So by the time you've read his one post, and they are quite lengthy, right? Know that it is the sort of the ensemble of all of these questions that he's been receiving, plus his vast experience. And I was like, a Facebook post. That's mentorship.
Isn't that amazing? And I also think that it's the innovation of time. It's the innovation of time, how we moved away from just being around the fire and talking, and how we've moved to the technological advancement of being able to mentor in this kind of, different spaces and mechanisms. I know that you ladies, there are films, maybe books, but mostly films, I'm curious, that have kind of triggered a little bit of that, thinking around mentorship. What's been yours?
Mine is a bit of a random one, but it's actually a movie I watched last night. It's called The Mechanic on Netflix. And this guy he's a paid assassin. I'm not telling anyone to go assassinate anyone.
That's so funny. That was your Friday night, right?
That was my Friday night as I was preparing for today. But what was really interesting, he's paid to kill some guy and then eventually mentors the guy's son, the dead guy's son. And he teaches this guy and they become a really amazing killer team, pun intended. And then the son finds out that this guy had killed his dad. So the son tries to now kill the main assassin. And of course he doesn't succeed because, at the end of the day, he was the apprentice. But I was so intrigued by the fact that he was able to put aside maybe the guilt or the wrongness of what he did to mentor this young man because the young man wanted to get into this career line, and then in the end, I guess when the young man lost focus or maybe his strategies kind of went haywire.
Yeah,
exactly.
haywire.
It was time to call it a wrap.
Oh.
But it was just kind of an interesting one. I mean, it's a bit wild and
That is
random.
so weird and warm and dark and kind of cool.
But there are
I kind of see
mentoring
it,
elements in there.
I kind of see it.
Indeed.
Oh my God.
Micheline, what's been yours?
I just love that with light to spin. Yeah, there's this woman, I watch her on Suits, Gina Torres. So I like Gina because, first of all, the outfits she wears as the partner in this law firm, the suits.
Okay.
You know the suits that Meghan Markle, before she became Duchess, she was in it. So Gina Torres is the head of this firm and Afro-Cuban woman, right? Okay. So even in that context, especially in America, right? A black partner. She started the firm, and so her next sort of partner down is this, dapper, very good at his job, white guy. So we learned through the course of the series that actually she mentors him. She started out, he was at Harvard, as a lot of the senior lawyers were, in the suits, in the episode. Remember, it's not real life, but I internalize it so much. And so they all went to Harvard and stuff, and she paid for him, we learn later in the second series or something, to go. And throughout you learn about how sometimes it's hard love, sometimes it is, you see like a bit of softness between them, they're having a whiskey or something together at the end of the episode. And I'm like, wow, you go black woman, you're the mentor. And I think, okay, bring it to real life, it just means to me that yes, I do recognize that young black women, young African women specifically, might look and recognize, in me, a mentor.
Right.
But it can come in any shape, form, or color.
Indeed.
Right? So it is, what is it, again, that you need? What is that symbiotic relationship that we might have?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's suits. I love that
I mean,
woman.
for me, The Devil Wears Prada was, it was an incredible movie.
Wow.
I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't watched it for years, after it came out, and then a friend of mine recommended it and said, oh, Musonda, you're always fancy and looking very fashionable. You should watch The Devil Wears Prada. Don't know what that meant. Anyway, so I watch it, and it's fascinating to kind of watch the chemistry between the young girl who really wants a job and desperate and goes into the fashion industry. And I think it's kind of like coined after sort of Anna Wintour, as we know. She's amazing, right? And the reverse element of how she kind of morphs into this amazing woman, and she becomes slightly, fashionable, and her boss looks at her and thinks, she's cleaned up good. But also the advice she's giving to this woman who's like, very strong, tough skin. She's like the editor of Vogue, and I'm no nonsense kind of lady, and the vulnerability she finds her in, remember in kind of thing in the house when she's crying or something of that sort. Right. But that kind of like suddenly, she's giving advice to this woman who has to soften up a little. And I thought that was curious, and was really wonderfully kind of woven in and brought into. It's been really exciting, but such a fab conversation, and we really want to hear from you. What have been your experiences on mentoring? How have you've been mentored? What has been the lifespan, or the 20-year lifespan, or the shorter lifespan? What has that actually meant? So please subscribe. Give us your comments, give us your reactions. We're looking forward to hearing about that. So here we are, we three queens.